Waiting for PMO and engineering. Asan sila?
Nagpaalam sa'yo si Val na live natin?
Oo nga eh.
Yung report mo?
Siya ba yung mag-ano? Engineering na lang.
Okay, so far sa engineering.
Okay, pa-start na po ang report natin sa ating task force traffic management. So nag-conduct sila ng rapid assessment for 45 days gaya ng sinabi natin nung umpisa ng term natin. So ito na, antay-antay lang ng konti. Ilang pages to? 21. Sino pang naantay? Engineering? Pwede na siguro magsimula.
Our mayor, Vico Sotto. Then I'll just announce who's present para we don't have to introduce. And then just raise your hand. Victor H. Baral from C3. Dolores Concepcion from Accounting. Rohel Galicia from Biseo. Jeronimo Manzanero from the City Admin. Willie Lim Quason, Consultant. Marquil Volta de los Santos from Toro, Consultant, and Biseo. Carmela Gorteza from Toro. Philip Reyes from TPMO. Lydia Gotana from TPMO. Robert Anthony C. from CPDMO. Roderick Gonzalez, Consultant for the Task Force. And then Valerie Torres from the Office of the Mayor. And I'm Sophia San Luis. I'm representing the Secretariat of the Traffic and Transport Task Force. So I'll go ahead with my presentation. I'll start out discussing what the problems are, not just in Pasig City, but the entire Metro Manila, and why we're experiencing an unprecedented level of congestion right now. I think all of you have an idea naman why we have this kind of traffic congestion, but I want to go through them one by one so that we can fully understand why we have to approach this problem differently at this point. So what is the traffic and transport problem that we are experiencing? Essentially, it's not the problem itself. It's just a symptom of uncontrolled and unplanned urbanization, motorization, and growth. Like I said before in other meetings, at its core, what we have right now is a supply and demand problem. So it starts with the failure to meet access for opportunities, people, services, markets, or goods in Metro Manila, outside Metro Manila, which in turn results in people wanting to go inside Metro Manila and increasing the demand for housing. And because of unmet demand for housing, we have what we are seeing now, what we call urban sprawl, wherein you have housing developing at the periphery of Metro Manila, which then increases demand for travel. Sorry for that, this one is demand for travel. So the unmet demand for housing in turn causes an increase in demand for travel, which if it is not met by public transportation and non-motorized transportation, will in turn increase demand for road space. And in Metro Manila right now, 78% of road space is taken up by 20% of the demand for travel, which is private motor vehicles. So yun ang problem natin ngayon. It's really at its core a supply and demand problem. So you see here, this is a picture of Metro Manila, and you can see how dense the city is, the entire mega city is. And what's the situation for Metro Manila? We have a population of almost 13 million, a density of 21,000 per square kilometers, vehicle volume of 2.7 million registered vehicles. So the traffic demand per day is 12.8 million for the city. And this reportedly increases to 15 million during the day because you have workers flooding the city from outside, from the peripheries. And we only have 5,000 roads to share. 5,034 kilometers of road to share. So that's 2.7 million sharing about 5,034 kilometers of road space. That's for Metro Manila. So this is Pasig City, and I didn't realize that it will be this color. So I'm sorry about that. So this is the population. It's 755,300. The population density in Pasig City is much higher than Metro Manila. It's 24,000 as opposed to 21,000 for the rest of Metro Manila. And that's because the population growth rate for Pasig City is still higher than Metro Manila. And then, ang pass-through vehicles for Pasig City, reportedly, according to TPMO, is about 60 to 70%. And then you have only 393 hectares of road space for within Pasig City. I pointed out the population growth rate, it's about 2.5 as opposed to about 2.1 for Metro Manila. That means Pasig City is still a growing city. So dadami pa ng demand for travel coming from within the city. And then the passing through vehicles, you can see here from this map why there's a lot of pass-through vehicles. Because this area here on the right is one of the, it's included in the greater Metro Manila area, which is the urban sprawl area for Metro Manila. Kasama dyan ang Bulacan and the rest of Calabarzon. But in all the workers that decided to live here but are still working here in this side of the city of Metro Manila would have to pass through Pasig City to get to Makati and Taguig. In fact, even the ones that are living here at the very edge of Pasig, here in Pateros and Taguig, even them, they have to go through this area. So dumadaan pa rin sila sa loob ng Pasig just to get out, to get to Makati and Ortigas. In terms of the road network that we have here, you can see here that it's predominantly very small roads. Despite the fact that we are the conduit of the eastern side of the greater Metro Manila, maliliit yung mga kalsadang dinadaanan nila. We only have 4 3x3 roads, pero isa lang dyan yung nagsaserve as an arterial road, meaning it connects different cities, and that's Ortigas Avenue. Yung Ortigas Avenue, parts of Ortigas Avenue are 2x2, and then the other parts are 3x3. Pero yun nga, nakikita nyo, so ito yung mga entry points ng Pasig City. So this side, entry point yung itong side na to, and these are just 2x2 roads. Pero essentially, it's serving the purpose of an arterial road. So merong disproportionate talaga yung design ng roads natin for the purpose for which it's being used currently. Ito rin, entry point din tong areas na to. Again, 2x2 roads. And then here, it's even worse. You have 1x1 roads here. And also here, mga entry points. So that also contributes to the congestion in the city. In terms of public transportation, there's really, again, supply and demand problem. You have a population of 755,000 and you only have 15,940 na public transportation vehicles, and predominantly that's just tricycles. Essentially, you really only have 4,000 na long distance public transportation, which is your PUJs and your UV Express or your PUVs. You only have 8 PUBs, but these are city-provided buses. So in short, wala talagang public utility buses that are originating from within Pasig City. Kasi ito, supply ito ng city. Lahat halos ng public utility buses that pass through Pasig comes from other areas. The primary origins or destinations, it's Pasig to Ayala, Market, SM Mega Mall, and Robinson's Galleria. And the only other destinations are Quiapo, Manila, Marikina, Better Living, Masinag, Antipolo, and this is coming from Ortigas Center. Pateros from Pasig City Hall, Guadalupe, and then Robinson's Metro East. So what does this mean? Dahil ang onti ng mga destinations, kailangan mag-trip chaining ng mga pasahero, which makes public transportation less ideal for them. So because they have to alight and then ride again and then alight and ride. For instance, if I want to go to Quezon City because I'm studying in UP, I have to ride up to C5, and then from C5 I have to take another vehicle to Katipunan, and then from Katipunan I have to get to UP. I have to take 3 trips to get there. Because yan lang yung mga other destinations that's being served from within Pasig City and nothing else. Also, in terms of yung terminals, majority are either illegally operating or will soon be illegal because yung terminal facilities that are being provided are inadequate. Again, technical difficulties. There's supposed to be a plus sign here and an equal sign here. But you have essentially 27 terminals serving about 4,000 PUJs and PUBs. For obvious reasons, hindi yan enough. That's about 100 for every terminal. And if you see the terminals that we have now, it's also equally obvious that the vehicles will not fit. This is just a sampling of the different terminals that we have here. I think this one is is near the City Hall. This is in the east. So yeah, most of them are really parking spaces. So why is this important? It contributes to traffic triggers. The inconvenience of the location as well, and the inadequacy of the facilities discourages people to shift from private vehicles to public transportation. In terms of the tricycles naman, there's an oversupply, but I want to caution that this oversupply is based only on demand based on population. It's not really based on what the actual demand is, depending on what the location looks like. For instance, if you're in the Palenque area, the demand is obviously higher because a lot of people will go there. Or if you're near a school, there should be more supply. But if you're in an area that's purely residential, yung talagang lang siya, bahay lang lahat, lower yung demand niya because wala namang places of interest in that area. But because it's population-based lang, there are areas na madaming tricycle. Mukhang madaming tricycle kasi parang wala naman talaga silang pupuntahan doon. Pero nandun sila. And then you have too many todas, 89. Reportedly, this results in trip chaining din. Kasi yung TODAs natin, their franchise is not over routes, but areas or spaces. So if they're from within the barangay, meron silang area lang dun na ginagalawan. And then if you're a passenger, you have to transfer to the next TODA to get to your destination. And because Pasig City is really a very compact city, it doesn't make sense to just base it on the population in the barangay because you have very small barangays that's super compact but very dense in terms of population. So that's for the tricycle. I just want to add that itong mga red na to, these are the undersupply. These are all undersupplied because there's no terminal facility. And madaming terminal facilities that are really on the road or on the sidewalk. In terms of non-motorized transportation, I think the only problem we have here is that it's limited to Ortigas Center or the City Hall. The bike sharing is predominantly at the Ortigas Center side. Protected bike lanes are predominantly at the Ortigas Center side. Even the unprotected bike lanes, most of them are on that side. And then your covered walkways, you have it in Ortigas and you have it here in City Hall. But it doesn't expand to anywhere else. And majority of the covered walkways are elevated. You don't really see covered walkways that are at grade. And this is a problem for our persons with disabilities. In terms of management, this is what the traffic and transport management looks like. You have a lot of silos that are reporting to the office of the mayor, but there's really no institutionalized coordination mechanism. There's no coordination body that's required to meet regularly, apart from this task force, of course. But so it's not really institutionalized, and so the problem there is you don't know who the lead agency is. So if you don't know who the lead agency is, you don't know who's responsible. There's really no one accountable at the end of the day. If, for instance, there's no terminal facilities or if traffic congestion is not solved, you can't really pin the blame on just one agency because scattered yung mga trabaho nila. And also, a lot of the segmentation of the roles, it doesn't make sense because they're really interrelated agencies. We're talking about public transportation, that's tricycle, and then you have public transportation, that's PUV, that's under TBMO naman. And it doesn't make sense that they're separate. And then TPMO, it has a lot of the traffic functions, but it's separate from the transportation functions. But those two are severely interrelated topics. It's so hard